What's up everyone, it's Mario back with another video. First I want to apologize for the mic quality. I'm currently on the road for work right now, but we're still going to record content. We're still going to put out some helpful tips while we're away. Escape from Tarkov has a lot of intricate keybinds that can sometimes be overwhelming to newer players. There are keybinds for scope magnification, checking existing ammo in your magazine, leaning, toggling tactical devices, and switching sights on guns. In this video we're going to go over a couple different keybinds that can make your Tarkov experience better and make the gameplay a lot easier. As always, if you enjoy the video, please drop a like, comment, and consider subscribing to the channel. With that being said, let's get into the video. Alright, so the first keybind we're actually going to go over is basic leaning right and leaning left. As you can see here, I have it bound to my mouse 3 and my mouse 4 button, and I have it set to continuous. So as soon as I pretty much press it, I'm going to start leaning left and right. This really comes in handy when you're actually swinging on people, or if you're just trying to peek corners real fast. Instead of like actually having to tap down E and Q, you can actually do this while you're moving as well, and it's actually a lot better, and it makes you harder to hit too, because a lot of people when they peek a corner, they'll peek it straight on, but if you lean and peek it, you still keep your movement going. So if you ever tried to, like, do A and D to move left and move right, and you ever try to do it with Q and A and E and D to like lean at the same time, it's damn near impossible. So that's one of the reasons why I changed it to that, and it's actually been working out a lot better for me. So the next keybind we're going to get into is switching between sights and changing scope magnification. So switching between sights is my mouse 4 button, and changing scope magnification is my mouse 3 button. And I also have these put on double click, so that way it doesn't interfere with my leaning left or my leaning right. A short range scope with a long range scope, I can actually switch between the sights a lot faster and actually do it while I'm moving, so that way I don't have to stop and actually like use the default keybind to do that. Same thing with changing scope magnification. If I'm running a TAC 30 and I'm going from 1 times to 4 times, or if I'm running a voodoo and I'm going from 1 times to 6 times, I can do this while I'm running. So if I'm getting ready to come over a hill and I know people are close or people are far, I can change my scope magnification and actually engage them as soon as I peek, rather than having to stop, change scope magnification, and then engage on the enemy. So this actually makes things a lot easier. Another keybind that we changed is toggling tactical devices and switching tactical device modes. So the default key for switching tactical device modes is Control T. So the way I looked at it is, why would I want to hit 2 buttons instead of just 1? So if you have a flashlight or a laser, or if you have a flashlight combo with a laser, you could just hit T and then you just press it and it will toggle between both, depending on what situation you're about to go in. If it's a dark area, just hit T real quick, and then the reason and the way I have it set is E, so that way I'm constantly hitting E on and off. So I actually used to have this bound to my mouse 4 button, so I can actually like do it on the fly. But with the leaning mechanics that I implemented with my mouse buttons, it was actually a lot easier to just hit E on it, and I have that both set to press. The last keybind we're going to talk about is inspecting the current weapon. I have this set to I, and I have it set to continuous, so that way as soon as I hit I, I'm going to inspect my weapon. The reason why this is so key is because when weapon jams, and whenever you have to check the chamber or fix the malfunction, this actually makes things a lot easier, because you have to inspect the weapon to find out what's going on with the weapon anyway. You'll get that little red icon in your bottom right hand screen to let you know there is a malfunction with your weapon. So we have this set to inspect on continuous, so pretty much I tap that, it's going to go through the inspect animation. But for the checking the chamber and fixing malfunction, I also have that set to I. But the key is set it to release, because whenever you have a weapon jam, you have to, like I said, you have to inspect the weapon anyway. So if you press continuous, you hit I once, and then upon the release of you inspecting your weapon, you're going to automatically fix that chamber and the malfunction. You're going to see what's going on with the chamber, and that malfunction is going to clear because it's set to release. But the key thing is you have to go through the full inspect animation before you take your finger off of I. And this has definitely made it a lot faster, especially if I'm running a Sega 12 shotgun, like you'll see in the offline raid, where I can inspect the weapon and then clear the malfunction just like that, and then continue to fight. Alright, so here we are in the offline raid, and the first thing we're going to go over is that leaning mechanic keybind. Leaning right is set to my mouse 3. leaning left is set to mouse 4. So the reason what makes this so good is instead of doing the default keybinds where I use Q and E, right? You can actually move and not take your finger off the button. So that way, when you're, let's say I'm coming around a corner on people and I want to peek, most people just like peek left and right, but what makes this a lot easier is you can actually see more. So if you look right here and I lean, I'm able to see more of that area that I'm trying to clear. So by leaning, while using the mouse button, I'm leaning right, you can clear more of that area. And the same thing if I'm leaning left with the mouse button. I could still move and I don't have to break the lean at all. So if I ever see somebody here and I just peek, I'm exposing way too much of myself. But if I lean, I can actually get those little quick peeks and gather information. So the mouse 3 and 4 buttons for leaning is definitely what I'm sticking with, and it's actually made my gameplay a lot easier. Another keybind that we touched on was switching sights and magnification keybinds. So let's say I have the TAC 30 and the close range scope. If I want to switch my sight magnification, all I have to do is double click my mouse 3 button. So I can go from 1 times to 4 times in just a double click instead of actually having to use the old keybind where I had to hit 2 different buttons to do that. So let's say if I'm coming up on big red right here and I know people are close, I could toggle it while I'm running. And then I can also lean while I'm doing it too. And now if they're really close right here and I'm aiming at it 1 times, double click my mouse 4 button, and now I can get like a regular sighting picture on them without having to adjust my eyes to the big outer ring of the scope. So that's a good keybind that I recommend for beginner players as well if you are going to rock 2 different sights. It just makes it a lot easier. Alright, so another keybind that we changed is the toggling the E button for the tactical device and flashlight, and then hitting the T button in order to switch the tactical device mode. So if I want to turn it off on the fly, I just hit E and I have my laser, and if I want to switch the mode, I hit T to toggle the mode, and that way I can toggle both on and off. So if I'm coming up in a dark area, it's a lot easier to do it instead of actually reaching for the T button constantly. Is the inspecting your weapon and clearing the jam. So if we purposely fire and we try to get a weapon jam, so as you can see there, we have a weapon jam in the right corner. So we can't fire actually. So it says malfunction, inspect your weapon with I. So if we hold I and inspect our weapon and we let go of it, we clear the jam and we can continue to fire. The cool thing is you can actually do this on the fly. So if I try to fire my weapon again, examine my weapon. So if I'm running and you release, makes it a lot easier and you can continue to fight. And this happens primarily with the shotguns. So those are the keybinds that I recommend you change if you want to make your gameplay just a little bit easier, especially for the beginner players out there. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.